What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down fresh out. You know how we do it over here. I got Lady Purpz on the air, and she's sharing her story. She had to go back to prison, you guys, since her last interview. And man, it's different when you are in a different state of mind when you go into a situation like that. So, Lady Purpz, going back and seeing just the transition that you've made and people that are in a different phase in their life. Um, what are some of the things you saw that you were like kind of blown away? Because I know you told us some stories before, but is there some things that you saw in that time frame that kind of made you just like really once again look at things differently? And what was some of the things you did to kind of take your mind off of being in that place, having been out and done so much since you have been out?
So when I went in this time, I think for me, since I was in, this is a whole nother state now. So I'm in a new state, in a new prison. I really don't know the ropes here. So I don't know how the things work here in Arizona. So when I got there, it was just a whole different environment for me. So different from California. California isn't like, they're not political, but they're a little bit more political than they are here. So what I seen a lot of over here in Arizona was just the drugs. So to see people that were still using and that I seen a lot of DUIs in there too, a lot of people there for DUIs. There was women. Actually, one of my roommates, one of my cellies, she was in there for the same thing I was in there for. And the boyfriend ended up getting off. She stabbed her boyfriend as well, self-defense, and she was in there too. So it kind of sucked to be back in there and see people that are still using drugs. And me, I'm already past that. You know what I mean? I'm way past that to see them living that life. I just wanted to stay away from everybody, do my time, get out and start over. It sucked that I had to go back in there and go through this whole experience again and to be around these people again because I'm not around anybody who does drugs or does anything. You know what I mean? I just do the family thing now. So to be around that was a big eye opener. Like, damn, like I'm really back here again. Like all because I chose to get in a relationship and it just went sour and I defended myself and now I'm back. I never thought I would go back to prison again. I always thought, okay, I'm clean now. I'll never go back. But yeah, my background took me back. Me not speaking up on things that I should have spoke up on took me back. Me jumping in a relationship, it really, really sucked. So all I did was work in there. I got a job and I worked and I just did my time. I exercised. I really didn't do much, just worked in there.
So were you able to avoid a lot of the drama as far as like the politics in there, and how was the guards in there? Did you have any run-ins with the guards, or were people pretty much, if you minded your business, you were like under the radar?
Yeah, pretty much. One thing I say about, so they're really strict in Arizona. So in California, we don't have to cut our nails. They're not weapons. We don't have to wear our hair up in a ponytail every day. We don't have to tuck our shirts in. We don't have to wear orange all the time. It's a lot different. We're a little bit more freer in California than they are here in Arizona. They're a lot more stricter. So the guards there were there was some of them that were cool, but they get you, like I used to get written up a lot for being out of area because I would work. And when I would get up during count time, I would have earplugs in and I didn't know it was count time. So I'd go use the restroom and I would get written up and stuff like that. Just stupid things that mess with your time if you're trying to get out, because it holds you back from programs and stuff like that. So that was a little bit different for me because California was a little bit more lenient. And then the prison I was in was a two-man cell. So our doors would pop, you know what I mean, when we were able to get out. I actually, when I first went in, I was on Lumley Yard, which was a max yard, and that was a two-man cell. I enjoyed it there because I'm used to doing my time like that. After my points went down and I didn't have any problems, I went to minimum yard, Carlos, and those were like dorms with like hundreds of like 100 people or something like that. That was a little bit more difficult to deal with, having to deal with all them women and everybody's in your space, showers, washers. It's a lot different. I wasn't used to that, so I had to adapt to that, which was kind of hard for me because I'm used to that two-man cell living.
Mm. Were there any programs while you were there as far as like job training or trade stuff that you did, or did you kind of just figure like, hey, I'm putting together a game plan so when I get out, because you know you had to literally start fresh again
Yeah.
after the time, and you know kind of create your new reality. So what did you focus on as far as so that you got your mind right as far as when you got out what you were going to do?
So as for me, when I was in there, they have programs in there, but I didn't qualify for a lot of the programs because of my time, the time that I was going to have to do. You have to have a little bit more time to qualify for certain things. So what I did was, I actually took classes. Like I did the anger management, I did domestic violence, I took a parenting class, I took self-help, just things that could help me be more aware of myself. That way, when I get out, especially I took a class. What was it called? It was it was a good class because it made me think about a lot of decisions I make, like to play out a process instead of just jumping on site. So it made me think about things more. That class really stuck with me. So I did that, and I just worked, stayed busy. I stayed out everybody's business. I played cards. I messed with a certain amount of people, and that was it. I really didn't mess with too many people, but that's what I did. And then I had a plan when I got out. When I got out, I knew that I wasn't going to get in a relationship. I knew that I was going to have to go back to my mom's, get a job. I didn't end up losing my car, so I had my car, stuff like that. So that was the best part, is that I had a little bit of things left over to get my to get in the door. So when I did get out, it was just it was crazy because I had to deal with my family and explain to them the situation. They only knew like a little bit of what happened. I never really talked about it over the phones or while I was in there. So they were kind of on my bumper about that too. And then the situation with my daughter was even harder because now I have to fight for custody back of her again. And I have to show them, because I got her after being a year out. Now I have to give them more time out before I'm able to get her back, and it sucks. It sucks.
Hmm. Um, like going forward, I was just talking with like my wife about like people and interacting. Is there anything now going forward that you look at differently when you interact with people in particular, like as far as qualities you would look for in any future relationships, or is there anything you'd like to share with women who maybe don't see it, or were there any signs that you saw before the domestic violence actually transpired that could have like have been avoided? I mean, is there anything that just any advice you could share with other women who are in relationships, or signs that you should get out, or what to look for so that you don't it doesn't go to this? Because I know it happens, and like you said, um your roommate, same situation. So
Yeah.
while you were there, so is there anything that you could like advise other women on that are possibly dealing with a situation that could end up in the same the same end game?
I think sometimes we're blind to it. Like we see all these signs. Like for me, it was um, when he would get mad, he would like break things or throw things, and think that's when it started. That's when I started seeing a side I didn't like. Um, I would have my daughter over, and he would get upset that she'd be crying. At that time, she was small, and she'd be crying and stuff like that. And I would leave the house when I should have just left him, in all reality. You know what I mean? I should have never stood around for any of that or thought it was going to get better, because eventually it just ended up getting worse. Um, at that time, I loved him. You know what I mean? So I let a lot of things slide that I should have never let slide. And I think for anybody that's going through anything like that, like don't ignore the signs, because it doesn't get better, it gets worse. And it's just going to hurt you more in the long run. I should have got out a long time ago before all this escalated. I should have did my research on him before. I mean, I knew his family. I thought I was going to be okay. I thought it was a safe zone. I to this day I know all his whole family. I just thought it was going to be different, and I ignored a lot of things I should have reacted on, and I should have made moves sooner too.
Mm, yeah. Man, well, I'm glad that you're out and you're doing well, and that you bounce back from that, because I know it's hard to start over, and luckily you still had a lot of the things that you had when you went in, so you were
Yeah,
able to kind of get back on your feet. But um yeah, for a lot of women starting from nothing, I've seen where women leave in the middle of the night and just take
yeah,
off, with nothing because of the situations like that. And a lot of these guys just, they're just, I don't know, they don't have any very very I say very low self-esteem, and that's their way of trying to assert their manhood, which I think
I agree.
is just very, that's very weak, man. It's just pathetic. I mean, if you gotta feel like you gotta hit a woman, then dude, you need you need some help. You know what I mean? You need to
Yeah,
just walk away. You got some personal issues. I think a lot of that comes from mommy issues too. Just you're dealing with some stuff with
yeah,
women, so you want to take it out on somebody. So this just I don't know. I hate that stuff. I think guys who hit women are punks, and I have no respect.
yeah, I
And
agree.
before getting down to that, you should just leave. You know.
Yeah, and you know what's sad is because a lot of families don't like to get involved when it's domestics or friends or anything like that because most women go back to it. And that's the thing that sucks. So when something like this does happen, it's not that your family doesn't care or anything like that. They're really there to help you. It's just if you're going to keep going back to it, they don't want to get involved, you know? And
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, as soon as I had that opportunity to go to prison and get away, I was gone. I was gone. And I know that for a fact, I know that he's going to remember me. You know what I mean? He's going to remember me. I mean, I hate to say it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
after he put hands on all these other women, they never did anything back. And I know I'm that one that defended myself, and he's going to think twice before he does it to somebody else.
How'd you find out about the other women? Did you find out about that in prison, or how'd you find out about that?
No, so after all this had happened, like I said, we know each other's family really well. So my cousins would be like, "Oh, we found out he used to hit his baby mama, or he used to hit this girl." He was with his baby mama for a while, so it was something that was there, but I guess I never really looked into it. Never really looked into it, and just
Oh,
avoided a lot of the signs because I cared for him, and it was a big mistake. Big mistake. I was
wow.
blind to a lot of things because I wanted so bad to everything to work, and I didn't want to fail at this relationship, and you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to tell the women out there, if you leave a relationship that's physically abusive or even verbally could be just as bad as physical.
and
Um, you're not weak. You're not selling out. You're not giving up. Nobody should have to put up with a relationship that has any type of abuse in it. And I think that women just have to learn that and I know sometimes you put your heart into something, but there's other men out there who will treat you how you're supposed to be treated. So
exactly.
um, I just want to share that. But I thank you for coming on and sharing that, and hopefully women watching this who are dealing with a situation and are contemplating leaving, they will see this and hopefully leave and avoid having to go through what you went through.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of
big
women.
hurt 916.
Oh, sorry. I think a lot of women
No,
they
go
don't
ahead.
they don't have the
No, go ahead.
strength. They don't have the courage to leave. But once you leave, you see how peaceful it is. Like you never want to go back into a relationship like that or settle for anything less than what you deserve.
Well, going back to that, I think that a lot of a lot of women don't know what it's like to be in a really good relationship.
That's
And
true.
some people think relationships have to have arguments, they got to have drama, they got to have, things that they've seen in relationships they saw like growing up. Maybe their parents were fighting, or they've seen a cousin or this, so they're thinking that's normal. And you don't have to have all that in a relationship to have a good relationship. You can have a relationship where it is so good. And I almost think that some people sometimes sabotage relationships that are good because they're thinking, wow, is this real?
Yeah,
Because they're not arguing, they're not fighting, things are going really great. And this guy, maybe you think this guy's too good. Maybe you're not worthy of this guy because he's so
exactly.
nice, or, if he cared about me, we'd argue. But you don't have to have all that. You don't have to have anger and conflict, and all these different things. You could have a happy relationship with somebody that cares about you.
Exactly. And that's what most women deserve, but we settle for less. We settle for less. And I think a lot of these men that are abusive, they find their victims, they know which women to do it to. They know who's going to accept it, who's not. They know. It's like they prey on them, they know exactly who to mess with.
I think a lot of those guys, they play off of self-esteem, and they feel like if they could make these women think that they're codependent, or they're somehow, they can't do without them, and they consider their strengths, because they're really weak guys, but they
Yeah.
play off of, like, without me you couldn't do this, you're not this. It's always like a lot of, I think a lot of it starts with the mental dependency, like creating a codependency, and in all actuality it's the guy who couldn't make it on his own.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree.
So yeah, women out there, take heed, and Lady Purpz, she went through it, but she made it out. So if you're
Yep.
going through a situation, get some help, talk to a family member, go to a women's shelter, talk to a counselor, somebody that
Hmm.
will pull you out of that situation. Big Herc 916, Lady Purpz, fresh out.